So many companies are more focused on chasing ESG dollars than making genuinely amazing products, and they do their very best to force inclusivity and diversity into everything they create. And ultimately, forced inclusivity is an enemy of creativity. But now, a brand new study has released saying over 95% of players don't consider inclusivity important in gaming. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, DEI has become a corporate trend that really doesn't sell. I love to see all different types of people in video games. It doesn't matter your race, it doesn't matter your gender. I can relate to characters on a level that is deeper than what you see on the surface, right? I'm trying to relate to characters with their courage, their bravery, their strength, their compassion. These are things that I look for that make a character amazing. But there are some individuals out there who really only care about a skin color or a gender, which is absurd because there are so many amazing characters out there who may not look like you. And to just instantly say you're not going to play something or consume a product because they don't look like you is absolutely absurd. And diversity and inclusivity are good things, but the problem is the way that corporations have turned DEI into a trend, because forced inclusivity and forced diversity is what people do not like in their products. And well, now a new study has released saying over 95% of players don't consider inclusivity important in gaming. This is a Tech for Gamers article. It says inclusivity is an unfortunate trend that has picked up in the industry over the past few years. This is a very important word right here, a trend, because that's all this is to companies. They genuinely think that there is a magical modern audience out there that's going to buy their products if they continue to market them hard enough towards this group, but this group of people really doesn't exist. Sure, you could maybe say there's 2,000 people in that group, judging by player counts on games like Concord, Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn, Dustborn, etc. But the majority of gamers are not the modern audience. They do not want a remake like a Silent Hill 2 to release and have it be for modern audiences. They just want it to be for the audience who originally fell in love with Silent Hill 2, the audience that made Silent Hill 2 important in the first place. But these companies and the higher ups at these companies do not care about the people who actually buy their products. They hate us. Look at the Ubisoft CEO. He said it's our fault a game like Star Wars Outlaws failed because our expectations are high, which is just terrible. And instead of just having their creatives make something they feel passionate about, we have companies like Square Enix who have internal ethics departments where these people look over the creators' shoulders saying, oh, you can have this in your game or you can have that in your game. This could be seen as offensive to certain people, so you have to remove it. And that's what narrative consultation companies do. And that is why so many people are boycotting, Sweet Baby Inc. games or Black Girl Gamer games or hit detection games, because at the end of the day, they're just sanitized pieces of content, and we are adults who should be able to consume the content we want. It doesn't matter if it has adult themes because we are adults. But these companies are saying, oh no, you're not allowed to have offensive themes in games. You're not allowed to have themes that push the limits and push the boundaries. You have to have watered down content, and that's not what people want. And when it comes to inclusivity, I'm fine with seeing all different sorts of characters in my video games. I can relate to them on a level that is deeper than their skin color or their gender. But there are a few people out there who, feel like they have to see themselves in this character through their physical qualities and attributes. And well, it doesn't seem like there's many of those people out there, because now we're hearing that most fans share the opinion as 95% of gamers voted they don't care about inclusivity in gaming in a recent poll. Of course, it says Now, inclusivity isn't a bad thing at all. In fact, it's always good to see characters from different origins, genders, and races in a game, but what's offsetting is the forced inclusivity narrative that pushes political agendas into gaming. And this is something that has happened so often over the past couple of years, especially over the past 12 months. You had Alan Wake 2, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn, Concord, Dustborn. I mean, there is a slew of video games that have put the inclusivity narrative over genuinely amazing storytelling in order to push a political agenda into a video game like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, for example. We've seen race swap Zoe Lawtons. We have seen the gender swapped lesbian Mrs. Freeze. I know, a bit of a tongue twister there, who, of course, did not sit well with people. People were extremely upset over the fact that they gender swapped Victor, but also still had her be a lesbian. Like, okay, congratulations. Why not just write a whole new character at that point? But this really has just culminated into a massive issue, and particularly Gamergate 2, because we're talking about companies like Sweet Baby Inc. Now, it is important to note that we're not talking about a poll here that has, 100,000 or even 1 million people voting on it, because this was put up on NeoGAF, which is similar to a Reddit, and there was about 1,000 votes, but it does definitely show that there are a lot of people out there who are upset, and I bet if I put up a poll that is extremely similar over on X, the response would be similar. I'm going to do that, and I will link it down in the description and the pinned comment for you. Go ahead and vote on it. But the majority of people are, yes, sick and tired of forced narratives being shoved into our content and political agendas being shoved into our content. At the end of the day, people just want entertainment to be good again. We do not want you to sacrifice storytelling to push inclusivity. We do not want you to sit here and try to beat us over the heads with a narrative. We just want you to do your job, which is to make entertainment. We play video games as a form of escapism, and that is not a problem. Sure, you're allowed to make shitty games like Flintlocks and Suicide Squads and Dustborns, but you have to expect that you're going to lose money because the majority of gamers do not want titles like this. It's just that simple. Look at Suicide Squad. They had the Arkhamverse behind it. There were tons of people who even bought it and tried to give it a chance because they loved the Arkhamverse, myself included, and this was a complete and utter nightmare. It lost Warner Brothers over $200 million, and they got what they fucking deserved. And it will be interesting to see as time goes on how this continues, how the culture war continues, and how Gamergate 2 continues, because so far we have definitely made an effect, right? We have affected the bottom lines of these companies. We've affected sales of video games, and it is always fantastic to see people get together and vote with their wallets and not be afraid to speak their minds, which of course companies constantly try to silence us, but it has not been working with Gamergate 2, and I have to say it is fantastic to see so many people voting with their wallets and ultimately speaking up for themselves. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.